Hi, welcome back. I'm so excited to have you here at the Radiant You podcast, where we embrace self-love, renewal, and the journey to our most radiant selves. I am so happy that you are here. I am Lissa Cole, your host, and today we are diving into a phrase we've all heard before. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. It means that if you yield even a little, you might end up giving far more than you intended. And when we do this with ourselves, it often looks like broken boundaries, promises, boundaries that we have set for our well-being, our routines, self-discipline, and our personal commitments. It is so easy to rationalize a small slip, but before we know it, we've abandoned the very things that keep us grounded and thriving. Boundaries aren't just about saying no to others. They're also about saying yes to the commitments that nourish and sustain us. I have a ton of information for you, so much that I made this topic into a 3-part series. So get ready. Grab a notebook, journal, and something to write with. And if you're driving, please plan to come back and listen again so you can take some notes. Don't forget your coffee, tea, or whatever you need to settle in and fully be in this space with me. Let's do this. The phrase that we've all heard before, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. It means that if you yield even a little, you might end up giving far more than you intended. And when we do this to ourselves, it often looks like broken promises, broken boundaries. Like I said in the opening, we set the boundaries that we have set for our well-being, our routines, and our self-discipline, and our personal commitments. Did you know that this phrase dates way back to 1546? Wow. Originally, it was give him an inch and he'll take an L. E-L-L. Where an L was a unit of measurement, about 45 inches long. Over time, the wording has changed, but the meaning stayed the same. Yesterday, I was listening to Mel Robbins' podcast, re-listening to one of hers, and this one, she was interviewing her 86-year-old mother-in-law, Judy Robbins. It's a great one. You'll have to go find it and listen. They were talking about 7 longevity secrets. One of them stood out to me. Stay active every day. Judy shared that if she takes a day off from movement, it can easily turn into a week. So she simply doesn't take days off. That level of discipline really struck me. So she's moving every single day. Not 5 days out of 7, 7 days a week. So it really struck me because when I take a day off from working out, eating well, or even just, walking, or it really ends up never being just a day. It turns into a mile, which to me is a week, and then more. When one day becomes a pattern, that's a concern. That's a concern for me. A few years ago, I challenged myself to go live every single day for 365 days, from one birthday to the next. It was quite a challenge. I was doing well until probably 9 months in. I would skip a day here or there, but it was never something that turned into a mile until I took one day off, unintentionally, just one. And that one day shifted everything. For some reason, 9 months in, my mindset changed from daily discipline to taking a break. Where did my commitment go? My discipline. The world didn't stop because I missed a day, but it did affect me. I had built a great habit, but I let it slip. And once I missed a day, I started intentionally missing more. Oh, what's another day, I would say. Those days turned into weeks. I had given myself an inch, and before I knew it, I had taken a mile. My personal boundary around consistency had eroded, and with it, my sense of accountability to myself. And that's exactly how people slip into the statistics of quitting too soon. I want to talk now about how women unintentionally and intentionally give an inch and take a mile. This isn't just about fitness or personal goals. As women, we do this all the time in different areas of our lives. In relationships, we say yes to small things we don't really want to do, thinking it's no big deal, but soon we find ourselves accommodating, overextending, and losing our own needs in the process. At work, we take on just one more task to be a team player, only to realize we're doing the job of two people without recognition or boundaries. With self-care, we skip one night of good sleep to get more done. That is so me. Then another. And before we know it, exhaustion has become our new normal. With personal commitments, we tell ourselves we'll start fresh on Monday, then push it back again, and suddenly months have passed without progress. In parenting, we allow a little more screen time, bend a rule just once, and before we know it, our boundaries with our children have completely shifted. In our dreams and passions, we put off taking that first step, telling ourselves we'll get to it later, until later becomes never. These small allowances add up. 1 inch turns into a mile. And we wake up wondering how we got so far from where we wanted to be. But discipline with habits, consistent, intentional discipline, is what keeps us on the path to radiance. Habits play a key role in becoming and maintaining your most radiant self. They shape your daily actions and influence how you show up in the world, making it easier to embody self-love, positivity, and growth consistently. James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, emphasizes that small habits, repeated daily, lead to remarkable results over time. Consistency and routine are the foundations of transformation. What you do every day matters far more than what you do once in a while. These principles from Atomic Habits are perfect for the Radiant You journey. Here's how they connect to the core themes of your mission. Master the art of showing up. The most important part of building a habit is simply starting. Even if you do something small, like one push-up or writing one sentence, showing up regularly reinforces your identity and your commitment. Showing up for yourself every day, even in small ways, reinforces your commitment to growth. Whether it's taking a moment for self-care, reflecting, or engaging in your practices, consistency in showing up strengthens your sense of self-love and empowerment. 1% better every day. I love this one. Tiny improvements done consistently compound over time to create massive progress. Clear calls this the power of compounding habits. Small, consistent steps towards self-love, empowerment, and growth add up. By focusing on tiny movements like learning something new or trying a new approach to rest, you build momentum that leads to substantial personal transformation over time. Standardize before you optimize. So before trying to perfect a habit, focus on making it a regular part of your life. It's more important to do something poorly but consistently than to do it perfectly but inconsistently. Let me read that part again. It's more important to do something poorly but consistently than to do it perfectly but inconsistently. When developing habits that foster personal growth, it's more important to start and be consistent than to make everything perfect. Embrace the process, even if you're perfect at first. Scratch that. Even if you're imperfect at first. See, I've always told you from the very beginning of this first season of my podcast that I will not be perfect. So whatever my script might say, or if I go off script or whatever it is, it's not going to be perfect. And this sets the foundation for greater things to come. Embracing the process, even if you're imperfect at first. So another one is never miss twice. Missing a habit once isn't the problem. What matters is avoiding a second miss. Clear suggests that if you slip up, immediately get back on track. Instead of allowing one missed day to turn into a pattern, life can get busy. I know. And you might miss a day in your routine. But getting back on track immediately is key to maintaining consistency. This helps you stay connected to your goals, even on those tough days, reinforcing the idea of resilience and grace in the journey. Another is identity-based habits. True behavior change comes from seeing yourself as the kind of person who does the habit. Interesting. Like an example would be, I am someone who exercises daily, instead of, I just need to work out. True behavior change comes from seeing yourself as the kind of person who does the habit. Present tense. I am someone who exercises daily. The more you reinforce the identity, the easier consistency becomes. See yourself as the kind of person who is already radiant, already empowered, and growing. This shift in identity makes it easier to show up for yourself and build habits that reflect your core values, which is the heart of the Radiant You movement. The plateau of latent potential. Many people quit because they don't see immediate results. Claire explains that habits work like an ice cube melting. Progress happens below the surface before the breakthrough moment arrives. Growth is happening quietly but will become visible. I promise. Incorporating these principles into your Radiant You journey allows you to create a sustainable path to long-term growth, centered in consistency, patience, and self-compassion. To cultivate the habit of being the Radiant You, here are some focused habits you can nurture. Morning rituals. Start your day with intention through meditation, gratitude, or deep breathing. Self-care routines. Incorporate small, nourishing acts daily, whether it's skincare, stretching, or creative expression. Gratitude practice. Reflect on what you're grateful for to maintain a positive, radiant mindset. Mindful eating and movement. Choose foods and activities that energize and support your well-being. Affirmations and positive self-talk. Speak kindly to yourself and reinforce a strong, radiant self-image. Rest and recharging. Prioritize rest to maintain balance and energy for your radiant life. Gracious boundaries. Protect your energy by setting and maintaining healthy limits. Connection and community. Surround yourself with uplifting people who support your radiance. Continuous learning and growth. Stay open to growth through reading, learning, and new experiences. Celebrate your progress. Acknowledge your wins, no matter how small, to reinforce positive momentum. To make these habits stick, start small. Choose one or two to focus on and gradually build them into your routine. Set reminders, create a support system, and be kind to yourself as you build these habits. Over time, they'll naturally become part of who you are, and embodying your radiant self will feel effortless. As we wrap up today's episode, I encourage you to reflect on one small habit you can begin showing up for every day. No matter how imperfectly, you're showing up. Remember, growth doesn't happen all at once. It's the small, consistent steps that lead to lasting transformation. So whether it's embracing self-love, learning something new, or simply being present, commit to that 1% improvement each day. Which habit suggestions do you feel most drawn to start with? Which habit do you feel you could be more consistent with? Or do you already have a habit that brings out your radiant self? Let me know. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe. Leave a review or share it with someone you care about. I appreciate you, and I really want you to know how grateful I am that you're here, choosing to nurture your light. Remember, radiance is a journey, and by showing up, you're already on the right path. Together, we're exploring what it truly means to embrace, celebrate, and shine as your beautiful, radiant self. Shine your light and be the radiant you. Bye-bye.